Hey guys, it's Blackwing 2040. Of course, you know today is Thursday, so you know what that means. It's time for Retro Throwback! Today is a Cartoon Network designated show, and today's Cartoon Network show is going to be none other than one of my favorite ones ever, Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I'm pretty sure you guys know you had probably would say nightmares watching the show, just a little bit. Trust me, I had some scary moments myself. There were some characters in that show that really freaked me out, like really freaked me out. I feel like I was so scared to watch that show, period. But it had its funny moments. It was so hilarious. I loved every single moment for that show, and I think it also went for 4 seasons. And also for a notice of you guys, if you guys don't know, the voice actors, both of them actually, if you guys didn't know, the voice actors for Eustace, they're both actually dead. So, and unfortunately, last year one of the voice actors passed away. So the one before was already dead, and I never knew that. And then a friend of mine's told me last year that one of the voice actors for the other voice actor for Eustace passed away in 2015. So that's so sad to hear. I don't remember their names at the top of my head, guys. So whoever they are, may they rest in peace. And they gave us a outstandable, hilarious character to laugh at, and who doesn't love laughing at Eustace? Anyway, so let's begin, shall we? I'll give you a little overview of the show. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Cartoon Network classic, by the way, and it was also one of the front-running shows of the Cartoon Network segment called Cartoon, which premiered during the weekdays, and on Fridays called Cartoon Fridays. You guys remember that segment? I love that segment. So Courage the Cowardly Dog, it's pretty plain and simple. A woman named Muriel, married to a husband named Eustace, who was also a farmer, adopts a dog named Courage, who was abandoned from his home. Who knows what happened? Who his real parents are. So she decides to keep Courage. Well, she names him Courage because he acts so brave and everything. I find that hard to believe. So, as you know, Courage is living with Eustace and Muriel in the city of nowhere, or they just call it the middle of nowhere. They encounter some many strange things in this place, like I'm just aliens, monsters, ghosts, just freaks of nature. This is just scariest. I would say this is the scariest place to live in, to be honest. And trust me, there were some scary, scary people living there. So of course, you know, you had your main characters, Courage the Cowardly Dog, who's like, you know, the main protagonist of the show, Eustace and Muriel. And let's move on to, I would say, you know, let's move on to, you know, the secondary characters, if I would say. You had, I'm not really sure of their names, but you had the Indian doctor. I'm like, oh my god. His character work had me laughing. Every time when Courage came to him with a problem, he would always say, but there's nothing I can do. Nothing at all. I'm like, wow, and you're a doctor, and you can't do anything. Where did you get your medical degree, man? Seriously. So, he was one of the funniest characters to laugh at. You had not Muriel, Eustace's mother, by the way. She had her crazy moments as well. And I mean, she doesn't even like her own son, to be honest. She always calls her son a joke. She's a terrible mother, that to be honest, like a very, very terrible mother at that. Other secondary characters was D Lang or D Lung. I forgot how his name was pronounced. I know his first name is D, like D-I. He's that Chinese character in the show with that fancy car, and every time Courage would probably just run past him or something's chasing him, he always say, "Watch where you're going, you fool!" Oh my gosh. I'm not saying the show is very stereotypical. It's just, this show's hilarious all around. And I guess that pretty much does it for like secondary characters. Let's move on to the monsters of this show. I'm pretty sure the show had like majority of monsters that came more than once. Mainly, let's start with the one that started it all, actually. The chicken from outer space. That was the pilot episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. And, of course, the chicken's main purpose, just, to invade Earth. And When he first encountered Courage, Courage stopped him by shooting his laser beam at him and actually turning him into a piece of chicken. And we thought we would never see him again. But to our surprise, there was an episode called The Revenge of the Chicken from Outer Space, where he comes back for revenge on Courage from turning him into a piece of chicken, and his main revenge plot pretty much is just to plunge Courage's head off and put it onto the chicken's body. I find that very creepy and kind of a stupid revenge plot, but creepy in general. So that was the first monster that Courage ever encountered. Some other characters, monsters in the show. Let's start with Freaky Fred, to be example. Every time when you look at this guy, you can tell he belongs in a mental facility. Just by looking at the shape of his face and to that creepy grin that he had, you know darn well that guy belonged in a mental facility. And he just shaved people's heads for fun. Just wow. And every time he would just shave something, his theme would always be singing children. It would crack me up just to hear it though, but it was so creepy to hear. I'm like, what is this? Who is this guy? Someone called the police on him. And he was just so weird and just crazy. I couldn't stand the sight of him. Another episode that really freaked me out since I was very young. The episode was called The House of Discontent. And in this episode was the spirit of the house was angry, apparently. Pretty much angry at Eustace for not being able to, farm something. Because ever since they lived there, Eustace hasn't really planted anything at all. So after the whole thing, the fiasco, Muriel, Eustace, and Courage are in the basement, and then suddenly this spirit of the house is pretty much a head with no eyes and black. I'm like, what is that thing? Just looking at it just really freaked me out. I just never wanted to watch that episode ever again. But it was just so freaky. And pretty much I've seen that episode plenty of times, but it was just so scary to watch. I don't understand. This show was really popular for scaring people. And pretty much, I feel like this is like a Halloween type of show, but it's not. It's just really a comedic horror kind of cartoon, if you may say. There's some other monsters in there and some freaks of nature. You have Le Quack, who is pretty much a French duck who's a mastermind of, doing things. You have the Cajun Fox, who pretty much has a grudge against Courage. No, wait, no, not the Cajun Fox. The cat. I'm wrong. It was the cat. He was a red cat. He always hated Courage, and every time he would try to, scheme Muriel and Eustace into doing something, Courage would always be right there to stop him, and he could not stand Courage at all. Another monster I found very interesting was the Queen of the Black Puddle. She's this. Think of her as like the Lady of the Lake, but evil. What she did in her episode was she was hypnotizing Eustace, and she only appears out of a puddle. And one moment she actually got Eustace. Eustace followed her to her castle in the sea or whatever, and then she turns into this monster-like thing and starts to chow down on Eustace, but she didn't because Courage saved him, and then that was the end of her. This show was just freaky to watch, guys. It was just so freaky. And another thing just popped into my head. I just forgot. Courage's computer. Courage's computer cracked me up sometimes, because he would always say the smartest things and has such a snooty attitude to Courage. It was just too funny to laugh at. And every time Courage gets the idea and always has to ask the computer on how to solve his problem, he would just say it in the meanest of ways. I'm like, wow, that's how you treat the person who's trying to get answers. Oh man. But anyway, as always, guys, we end the episode of Retro Throwback with the theme song of that particular cartoon. Here is the theme song, well, opening, if I would say, of Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's very short. You guys enjoy.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage the Cowardly Dog Show, starring Courage the Cowardly Dog. Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bag. But creepy stuff happens in nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home. Stupid dog, you made me look bad.
And that's pretty much it, guys. It was only 30 seconds. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Retro Throwback. In the comment section below, tell me what was your favorite, or what was your favorite episodes of Courage the Cowardly Dog. And if you had favorite monsters that you love so much, leave that in the comment section below. I forgot to say my favorite monster. Mine was King Ramses. You know, that little mummy that always kept saying, "Return the slab or suffer my curse." That episode was so hilarious. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I am Vengeance, I am Darkness, I am Blackwing. Stay golden.